From Storm Tracker 6, this is Forecast First, sponsored by Auto Owners Insurance. Simple human sense.
Yet another gorgeous and mild day for us here in mid-Michigan. Some very thin high-level clouds in the background of our Grand Ledge camera. Notice that small amount of cloud cover, basically the only thing we have to talk about on satellite and radar across the entire region this evening. Temperature-wise, 54 degrees here in Lansing. We're at 55 for our current temperature in Mason and Jackson, cooling down into the low 50s thus far down towards the state line. We are going to stay dry and mostly clear overnight tonight. Overnight lows cooling down into the mid to upper 30s, and we do have a very small chance for rain for parts of the region tomorrow. We'll explain more coming up in just a little bit. 6 News at 5:30 starts right now.
WLNS is here for you, celebrating 75 years of bringing you the news with 6 News at 5:30.
Right now at 5:30, General Motors announces hundreds of layoffs, and Michigan workers are among them. Plus, a case of animal abuse in Flint as 2 dogs were left to die in a cage tossed in a pond. And something else police want you to watch out for before your kids dive into their Halloween candy. Those stories and a lot more, and all in the first 6 minutes. Thank you for joining us this evening. I'm Siobhan Klepfer. Let's start that clock. New tonight, 6 News has learned General Motors is laying off about 3,400 workers at manufacturing sites across the U.S., and Michigan is getting hit pretty hard. GM says the cuts come as demand is slowing for electric vehicles. The company plans to cut 1,200 jobs from an all-electric assembly plant in the Detroit area and 550 from a battery plant in Ohio. That's in addition to hundreds of other employees that are scheduled to be temporarily laid off. GM says it's adjusting production in response to recent changes in customer plant demand. Michigan is among many states working right now to help Jamaica after Hurricane Melissa hit the western part of the island hard. It's one of the strongest Atlantic storms ever recorded, with sustained winds of 185 miles per hour when it hit Jamaica. Melissa demolished homes, knocking down trees and washed away roads. Hundreds of thousands of people are without power. Officials there have not released details on how many people were injured or killed, but say they do expect loss of life. And that is why a Michigan nonprofit is doing what it can to help. It's called Disaster Relief at Work, or DRAW, and volunteers respond to floods, hurricanes, and tornadoes. Well, volunteers, they help disaster victims around the country get back on their feet with locations around the U.S. DRAW has been keeping an eye on Hurricane Melissa, and hundreds of volunteers from all over the state filled buckets and tubes with supplies at a warehouse in Waterford. Those supplies will either help with cleanup or help victims as they work to rebuild their lives.
The moment we put the lid on this, the next time it's open, it's going to be opened by someone who is recovering from something awful.
Throughout their global partners, DRAW says it has made contact with churches in Jamaica, and once they've found a location, they plan to send 700 of these buckets by Friday and then follow up to see what else might be needed. Well, staying in Michigan, animal control officials are investigating a case of animal abuse tonight after 2 German Shepherd puppies were dumped in a pond while in a cage. The dogs, Ringo and Star, were found and rescued on Tuesday at a golf course in Flint. Now, officials say Star broke free and got the attention of people in a pickup truck and then led them to Ringo, who was still trapped. He was pulled out of the water but had to be euthanized at a shelter later because of multiple broken bones and other issues. Investigators believe the dog's owner dumped them. Well, we are here for you tonight to remind you to be aware of postal scams as we get closer to the holiday season. USPS officials say be on the lookout for anything suspicious and keep your defenses up to guard your personal information. One of the newer scams involves a small gift being sent to your home.
You may receive a package. It may not have a return sender notice on there or who it's coming from at all. You may not have ordered it, don't know where it's coming from. And when you open it up, there might be some gifts or small trinkets or something, but also there's going to be a QR code or a website they're going to want you to log on to. And what they're trying to do is get you to give them some of your personal information. You don't want to do that.
You do not want to do that. Remember, in most cases, official senders like USPS will not ask for payment or personal information. And if you have any concerns at all, contact the delivery service or seller directly. Well, staying with safety, Halloween is just a few days away, and parents are reminded to be extra careful when sifting through their kids' candy. The Warren Police Department says it found some tainted snack items last week during a search warrant, including bags of chips, candy, and other snacks that looked to be standard name brand items, but many contained THC, the psychoactive compound in marijuana, and others were infused with psilocybin, the hallucinogenic compound. Meantime, a threat closed Lakewood Public Schools in Barry County today. District leaders say they received a report last night and immediately called police. They decided to close schools today out of an abundance of caution. State police say they have identified those involved, and investigators do not believe there's a threat to the public. Well, moving out of Michigan now, a Texas woman is recovering tonight after being assaulted while trying to vote there yesterday. She says it was a misunderstanding over using a cell phone. The woman brought her phone into the voting booth, and when she did not put it away, a security guard came over, grabbed her arm, twisted it into her face, and pushed her out the door. Cell phones are not allowed within 100 feet of voting locations in Texas. Hundreds of students from one of Chicago's most predominantly Latino neighborhoods walked out of their classrooms shortly before noon today. They wanted to speak out against ongoing immigration enforcement. The neighborhoods that participated have been among the hardest Chicago neighborhoods hit by the immigration enforcement operation since early September. A week ago, there were chaotic scenes as people in the community faced off against federal agents, and in one incident, agents fired tear gas into the crowds. Athletes marked the 100-day countdown to the Milano Cortina Olympics today, and they're also getting ready for spectators to be back in full force at the Winter Games after COVID limited attendance in Beijing 3 years ago. The U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee expects 294 athletes to travel to Italy as it puts greater emphasis on winter sports, with dozens of leading athletes visiting New York City for the two-day promotional event. And we round out the first 6 minutes of news tonight with a message in a bottle. A family cleaning up a beach in Australia found a World War I message buried in the sand. It was written by two soldiers sailing to France in 1916. The cheerful letters were written in pencil and included a private writing from one soldier to his mom with her name and address, making it easy to track down his relatives. They wrote they were having a good time, that the ship was heaving and rolling, but they were happy, and that the food, Kendall, was good so far as well. So that's good to hear. Nice positive message.
Yeah, and that it lasted that long too. That's what always amazes me.
Right. And in pencil, and I mean, they were a little bit wet,
Yeah.
and so it was hard to read, but they did figure it out, and very cool.
But still, that you were still able to figure it out.
Yeah.
It's pretty nice.
Yeah.
We had some pretty nice weather across the area today.
The sunshine.
I know, it felt so nice.
It did.
Hopefully you enjoyed it, because there's going to be a little bit of cloud cover tomorrow. Most of us are going to be dry. Few of us could see some showers.